So, how long have you been an athlete?
I've been an athlete for as long as I can remember. I probably was 5 when I joined my first recreational soccer team, so very long time because now I'm almost 23, so very long time.
So, in your time as an athlete, have you ever felt like discriminated against or like seen as less than because you're a woman?
I sometimes saw, I think the first time I saw it was when I would always like to train goalkeeping with other boys because they they would kick the ball harder and they would just be it would be like a higher level for me to train against them, and they would always look at me and like hit the ball soft at me first, and then when they saw I could keep up with them, they were like, okay, maybe we should hit a little harder. So I think just like looking at me initially, they thought, oh, like, okay, she's just a girl, like she's not going to be that competitive or whatever. And then once they saw I could keep up with them, they kind of gained a new level of respect for me. But I kind of felt like I had to prove myself first.
So, touching on the whole like, oh, she's just a girl thing, like a lot of things said around in sports world are like, oh, she throws like a girl, or like you kick like a girl. So, how would you kind of make young athletes feel better about that stuff, knowing that, that's a common phrase thrown around?
I think it's a compliment because I think if someone says like, "Oh, you run like a girl," I'd be like, "Yeah, I do. I'm strong. I'm independent. I work hard, and I'm determined, and I don't have to kind of have like a shell around me like, oh, she just throws like a girl or she does this like a girl." So I don't see it as an insult. I think it shows how strong women are, and I definitely enjoy when people say that because I'm like, yeah, I know.
Have you ever seen any like differences in terms of media coverage between your team and like the men's soccer team, for example?
Yeah, especially regarding promoting of games. I remember this season we had a doubleheader, so we played first, and then the men's team played after us, and there was all these flyers and stuff and things on social media regarding the men's game, and we actually had a game right before them, and we got nothing. And I think that has to do with maybe people viewing men's soccer as more interesting to watch, but at the same time, we did very well this season, and at that point, we were undefeated. So just based on that, I think the sole difference was it was a women's game compared to a men's game, and I thought that was pretty. Didn't make me feel very good about it.
One of the biggest topics in the sports world in terms of like women is the pay wage gap. And one of the biggest advocates for that is the U.S. women's national team. So as a soccer player, how do you feel knowing that women just like you can work as hard as men and like even outperform them and get a fraction of their salary?
Yeah, especially since I actually want to pursue professional soccer after I graduate. It's definitely something that I've always thought about. Like, well, I do want to pursue my dreams and play professionally, but I know that the money isn't there. And that really turns a lot of women off to going past the collegiate level, even if they're good enough to play professionally. And so I think it's really awesome that the women's national team is pushing it so much because they are extremely successful and they do get those the media coverage. They don't, even though they don't even get a fraction of how much media coverage the men get, they still get those ticket sales and they still get people tuning in any way they can. And so I think that proves that it is becoming a bigger thing, and people are starting to pay attention to it. And so I think if they just continue to push for it and get people kind of on the bandwagon, like, yeah, they do deserve to be paid the same amount. I think that's a really good conversation to have, and especially it touches home to me because I do want to play professional soccer. So I really hope that maybe we can establish a league for a lot longer, like the MLS, and kind of bring that fan base in so we can have the same opportunities as them.